What the heck is Formula One?
Pole position, strategy,
yachts and parties,
safety car, Ferrari.
beautiful corners.
Oh, right, okay. There's a car in front of you. Try and overtake it.
Oh, I hate you so much.
Hello, you fools. Welcome back to another Formula Fools podcast. We're back in the normal setup. We're back together,
Look at us go.
finally. I've been dreaming of this moment, Skin.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
pretty weird.
Sorry, Skin. What do I normally say? There's a script. You can read the script, Dave. I'm David, and joined with me, as always, is Skin. I know I've just said his name a couple of times, but this is Skin.
Hello, how's it going?
The audience can't answer.
Okay, how are you going?
I'm going good. Thank you, Skin. Thank you, Skin.
Wonderful.
If you're wanting to learn about Formula One, if you're here for the first time, if you do not know who me or Skin are, welcome. This is a podcast where we're going to educate, hopefully, a little bit more about Formula One, and we're going to talk about the races, we're going to talk about engineering, we're going to talk about tyres, we're going to talk about drivers, teams, history, everything. We're going to teach you about the wonderful sport that is Formula One. So thank you for joining us, and please follow along for the journey. It's always hectic, especially when I'm doing the intros. You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying.
Beautiful.
Agreed.
So to start things off, on every episode when we have a race, we always get a hot lap recap with Ryan Smith. Ryan is my good mate back in the UK. He's an absolute weapon at presenting. So he does this little segment where he recaps what happened during the race weekend and delivers it in a nice little package just in case you've forgotten anything. And he has a jingle for this segment, but I didn't change the page on this. Here it is.
The race is over. It's that time in the show for the hot lap recap. Let's go. All right, fools. This is it. The final hot lap recap of 2025. Okay, join with me. Take a deep breath. Okay. What a ridiculous, brilliant, stressful, and occasionally stupid season that was. All right, let's start with the events of Abu Dhabi and then zoom out some other notable things. Okay, Yas Marina, the title decider. Max Verstappen did everything he needed to do on Sunday. Oh, and it still just wasn't quite enough. He stuck it on pole, he nailed the launch, and he led into turn one with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri tucked in behind in their own championship order. And lap one, well, it set the tone, didn't it? Piastri sent it around the outside of Norris into turn 9. It was bold, it was clean, it was properly classy. And he nicked second place from his own teammate in a title-deciding race. Now, that move meant that Lando was suddenly the one that was on the back foot, sitting third with both of his championship rivals ahead of him. And early on, Norris had Charles Leclerc all over the back of him. The Ferrari was hovering, it was threatening. It really tried to put a spanner in the works, but it never quite became close enough to try something that might have actually blown the title fight up entirely. Now, strategy was simple at the front. Verstappen was committed to a controlled one-stop. The McLarens, especially Piastri, tried to mirror that. And it became all about track position and picking their way through traffic after the first round of stops. And that's really where Lando actually earned it. You see, after pitting, he rejoined in the pack and he had to pull off that outrageous double overtake. There was Alonso and Antonelli there in one single move down the back straight and into the chicane. It was proper big balls stuff in a title decider. And it was exactly what he needed to get back to that podium or bust position. Then came Yuki Tsunoda. Of course, it was Yuki. On an offset strategy in the other Red Bull, he defended like his future contracts depended on it. Now, his first move was firm-ish, but just, I suppose. And then he threw in a few extra shifts and turns in there, and it ended up shoving Lando off at the side as they went side by side down the back straight, and it actually earned Yuki a 5-second penalty for forcing a car off track from multiple movements, which obviously isn't allowed. Now, from Norris's point of view, it was obviously another classic, why is it always me being shoved off the track kind of stuff. But he kept his head, he reset, and he found a way through without losing the plot. That was a sticky moment. Now, up front, Verstappen controlled it to the flag for his 8th win of the season, more than any other driver or McLaren driver. Piastri followed him home in second, but crucially couldn't get far enough up the road to put Lando under real points pressure. Norris, he brought it home in third, the exact minimum that he needed, and that was enough. Leclerc chased him, but never got close enough to try anything really wild. And the final top 5 was Verstappen, Piastri, Norris, Leclerc, and Russell. So that means Norris is world champion 2025 by 2 points over Verstappen and 13 over Piastri. Pretty fine margins after 24 races. What a season, eh? This was the year that was supposed to be Piastri's. Then it swung to Norris, then Verstappen dragged himself back into it from miles behind. We had 3 drivers, 3 styles, 3 storylines converging on one beautiful final race. And in the end, Lando did just enough. Max reminded everyone why he's already a great, and Oscar proved he absolutely belongs in that same conversation. And for newbies like Skin and every other fan who sat through years of dull one-horse seasons, this was your reward. A title fight that went to the last stint of the last race with 3 drivers in it and absolutely no guarantees. You know, strategy calls cost championships this season, didn't it? Drivers who never gave up. And we ended with a 26-year-old Briton who finally got over the line after years of knocking on the door. That is your final Hot Lap recap of 2025. I'm Ryan, reminding you that in F1, like in life, sometimes you've got to wait years to get your moment. But when it comes, it is sweeter than anything else you've ever known before. See you next season, fools.
Oh, a little bit emotional from Ryan there.
Wow. Lovely stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's start with Lando winning the championship.
Sure.
Huge effort. Well done to him. Well done to all of the Lando team. Pains me to say it. I didn't want him to win. It's no secret. I wanted Max or Oscar or anyone to come through and beat Lando. Don't know why. Just
Well, yeah, I think either of the other stories would have been a bit more exciting. Like Oscar, we've obviously just got a clear bias to as Australians. That would have been very exciting. How often do you see an Australian win?
Yeah.
And then Max.
Both of us Australians, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you hate England so much. You might as well be Australian.
Hopefully I'll be an Australian citizen by this time next year. So yes, this time next year I'm Australian.
Okay, beautiful. And then Max, that would have been just the greatest comeback. Well, I don't know what are some of the greatest comebacks in F1, but I mean, I imagine that would have been one of the greater comebacks in most sports, really. To be that far behind halfway through the
100%.
season and end up within. Well, had he ended up winning, not to be,
but still a great story to finish just 2 points off of Lando. But yeah, you can't really take anything away from Lando. I know I've tried quite a lot, but he's done really well this season. He's had some good races. He's had some shocking races, and he's majority of the time has, not looked like he was going to win this championship. Oscar led the championship for longer than anyone this season. It was kind of his at points. It was his championship to throw away, and he did kind of throw it away. So yeah, it was obviously lovely to see Lando's emotion on the podium, celebrating with his family's emotion while he was on the podium. I saw a video a few hours ago of Lando in a club still partying. So did you see that? Yeah. So like to just see that whole side of the garage just kind of, and his family and everyone else, like just to see them all just taking it in now and celebrating, like the first McLaren world champion since, what would it be? Since Lewis Hamilton in 07.
07.
Yeah.
Holy hell.
They've not won a driver's championship since 07. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. Very impressive.
Wait, so who else has won since then? Obviously Mercedes and Red Bull won.
So 07 was Lewis. 08 was, sorry, no, totally wrong. So many people are going to jump in the comments. 07 was Kimi. 08 was Lewis. 09 was Jensen in a Brawn. And then it was Seb for 4 years, Lewis through to 2016, Nico in 2016, Lewis through to 20, and then Max from 21 through to now.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Go McLaren.
Yeah, so well done to them. And he also becomes the 3rd British driver to win a Constructors' Championship for McLaren, including Lewis Hamilton and James Hunt. So joining a very prestigious list there of McLaren English world champions.
Nice.
Yeah. So well done to him. He's done well.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are going to be like, Dave, what the fuck? You slated him quite heavily last week. I did. And I stand by most of what I said. There was a couple of things I said that people pointed out, and I was like, oh, maybe I was a little bit harsh.
What?
Apparently, I said he got lucky last week. I was referring more to, and I went back and listened because I was like, I want to make sure I didn't. I was referring more to like one time when I was talking about like one-time champions that we've had, and I was saying like these one-time champions sometimes they get lucky. It kind of sounded like I was saying Lando's going to get lucky if he wins a championship.
Right.
I wasn't exactly saying that. I was more saying that like people like Damon Hill kind of got lucky.
Okay.
Lando has had to fight for it, and it went down to the last race. So credit to him. Max, have you got anything on Lando you want to go through first?
No, not at all. He won. It was good.
Yeah.
Good for him. I would have loved to see Oscar win, but it is what it is.
Yep.
Well done to him. Good on him.
You're a McLaren fan as well. You started following them, Skin, before their big success.
I did, mate. I've been around for years. Obviously, as a McLaren fan since they were just down the bottom of the table.
Yeah, that was it.
No,
you remember the McLaren Honda days, don't you?
Oh, exactly. They were my favourite days.
Probably not.
Not my favourite. They were not my favourite days.
Unless we're talking about McLaren Honda in the 90s.
I don't know what we're talking about. But
Go Skin.
But yeah, no, I decided to follow McLaren like last year just before they got good, which was nice timing. But I did it largely just because Oscar's Australian. So I was more excited to see him win. But is what it is. Well done to Lando.
Nice.
Max, on the other hand, didn't quite win, but was still very impressive.
Yeah.
So probably more impressive this weekend than Lando.
I would say,
despite winning the world championship, his actual weekend was fairly like, okay.
Yeah. He had a great weekend. I wrote down on my notes like that he had a very fucking dominant weekend when he probably shouldn't have had a dominant weekend. I think if we're looking at the Red Bull of this season, if we look at it from Qatar last week and then we look at it from free practice early in the weekend, he didn't look comfortable or confident in this car. He's not really looked comfortable or confident in his car for a little while, and yet he keeps putting in these amazing performances in qualifying or in the race where he's just on the podium or he's winning races. And this was just another sign of that. And I think that it's very easy to look at his win this weekend and say he had the faster car. He did not have the faster car. Or like he may have been on par with the McLarens a bit more, but that car was loose as hell underneath him. Like I think if you just watch any of the qualifying laps, he had to wrestle that car around to put it on pole, whereas the McLarens looked a lot more sturdy within their car. Oscar's lapping, I can't remember if it was Q1 or Q2, where he went like half a second faster than Lando, was just unreal. Like I looked at that and was like, that could be the pole lap. And I think Max only beat it by like a 1/10 and a half or 2/10 or something. So unreal work from Max to get out of the weekend what he did. Obviously, he needed to win. He needed Lando to finish in P4. He needed Yuki Tsunoda or Charles Leclerc or George Russell to help him out. None of them did.
Yep.
Yuki tried his best. Have you seen some of the memes?
No, what do you got?
I keep seeing memes where it's like Yuki's defense on Lando, and it's a fence in the middle of a field, but there's no gate attached to either side. So it's just a fence. It's just a gate, and you can walk around either side, and there's just like a clear footpath going around the gate. Or it's like a lock on a bathroom door, and they've put like a chip in the middle of it, like a chip that you would eat in the middle of it. It's like that's the strength of Yuki's defense is a chip.
Okay. Yeah. What is that all about? Because is that to do with the track? Like you've seen, because obviously you see races throughout the year where people do such a good job of keeping people behind them, and it looks a lot easier. Like is it Monaco? We obviously talk about it's impossible to overtake, so you can essentially just drive as slowly as you want, and no one's going to get past you. Yep,
exactly.
Was that different at this track, or is Yuki just not as good at defending as say like your Alonso's and whatnot?
No, it very much so is the track. The track is there's quite a lot of overtaking opportunities. The double DRS zone that we have here, when we say double DRS zone, we mean you've got one straight that's DRS, and we've got a little chicane, and then we've got another straight immediately after. So you feel the effect of the first DRS zone going into the second one more. For example, if you're 0.8 behind of a car going into the first DRS zone, you could finish that one 0.4 behind, and then you go into the second one, 0.4 is enough to pull alongside them potentially and then overtake. So that double DRS zone means that it is better for the overtaker against someone like that. But also, things that didn't favor Yuki was his tires were significantly older than Lando's. Yuki's not comfortable in this car, as we've seen the entire season, whereas Lando is very comfortable in his car.
So, something that happened with that whole situation, obviously he drove Lando off the track.
Yep.
Not ideal. Well, firstly, what was your take on that? Because that got a heap of criticism from the commentators and stuff. But it sort of seems like a no-brainer to me. Like, of course, he's going to try and stop Lando from getting past to help his teammate. There's nothing else he can do in the race.
Exactly. He's out of contract. They probably offered him a big fat bonus check if he did this. So why not do it? I think the reason we heard the commentators getting so whiny about it is because the driver he was doing it against was a British driver. And I know if we ever needed evidence that there was a British bias, it was them slating Yuki for trying to help his teammate out. I think if we were in any other situation, if Oscar wasn't a part of this championship, I think we would have seen Oscar doing the same to help Lando. Vice versa. If Lando wasn't a part of this championship, like if he was in P4 in the championship, he would have helped Oscar out in this race and in other races prior. Like, It annoyed me because the Sky Sports commentators all season have said, and Nico Rosberg being part of that punditry team, have said to the McLaren management, are you going to pick a favourite driver? When are you going to side with a driver? When are you going to, tell another driver to give up a position so you can favour one as the world champion? They've been pushing that all season. And then when Yuki tries to help Max, they're not happy with it. It seems like a double standard to me.
Yeah. Yeah, no, very fair. I agree. It seemed, I assume their justification is like there's a safety concern. Like if that had caused a crash and someone got injured, 100%. That obviously would have been sad and unnecessary. But I mean, slowly cruising over to the side of the track as he drives onto the grass didn't strike me as the most dangerous situation I've ever seen.
Okay, so I'll defend them there because what annoyed me was that they made a remark about it. Martin literally said this is getting to unsportsmanlike conduct before he even made his double move. That pissed me off because I was like, it's not unsportsmanlike. He's more than fine to do what he's doing. The double move that he did is dangerous. It's against racing regs. We spoke about it before. I think Behrman had a incident. I can't remember what track it was. Maybe Bahrain or something like that. He had an incident earlier this season with someone, maybe Stroll or someone like that. And I was very vocal on that as well. You don't double move under braking. You don't double move on a straight. You don't double defend. It's dangerous as fuck. The driver that's attacking doesn't know what you're going to do because you're driving erratically. And the closing speeds on these things can be fucking huge. Like we've seen big crashes like that. So like he deserved the penalty. And as soon as he did it and we watched it back, I'm like, yeah, he's going to get a penalty for that. Mm-hmm. But it was the commentators' opinion before that even happened. They already locked in their opinion that it was a bad thing.
Okay.
But then on that, Lando going off track.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a couple questions here. So you're right. Yuki got a penalty and deservedly so, obviously. Lando went off the track, overtook him, didn't give the place back. What is the deal there? Like, what's the precedent there? Are there similar situations that have happened before? Because obviously there are a heap of people, presumably not very big Lando fans, saying that essentially that two wrongs don't make a right.
Yep, exactly.
Right? Like, so Yuki's pushed him off the track. That shouldn't give him the right to overtake outside of track limits, and he should have still either given the spot back or been penalised for going off the track and gaining an advantage.
So yeah, it's really frustrating that I have to do this, but I have to defend a British driver and also tell him that he's wrong. Yes, I agree. It's a double standard. I think he should have got a penalty for it, and I can see the argument for people that are saying he should have got a penalty for it. However, I think if you're in that situation in Lando's seat, this guy's moved left, right again. You don't know what the fuck he's going to do. If he then squeezed even tighter to the left, you just needed to make sure that there was enough room between the two of you. He could have easily overtaken him on the track. There was enough space there for him to do it. He didn't need to go all four wheels off. But in his mind, he was thinking, I don't know what his next move is because he's driving erratically. I'm going to move a bit further over. Maybe he thought 'cause it was quite marginal. Like he wasn't like fucking 10 miles off the road.
Sure.
So in his head, I think he was purely thinking from a safety point of view. So that's where I can see why Lando didn't get a penalty.
Okay.
It's one of these. It's also just like Stroll. Fuck, sorry, Lance, you didn't deserve that. Tsunoda was driving so fucking slowly and going that far off the track onto the blue grippy shit. It's actually slower to do that. So he wouldn't have gained an advantage in any way apart from overtaking Tsunoda, which he could have done on track. So
sure.
I think there's quite a lot there's a lot more reasons I can see to why he didn't get a penalty, to why he should have got a penalty, but I just think we see bad stewarding all season that's inconsistent, and I think had this not been a championship decider, it may have been different. If this was 6-7 races ago and wasn't these two, it could have been a different outcome. But who knows? Because also 6-7 races ago, who the fuck would be defending like Yuki was? Like he was defending really crazily.
Yeah, very true.
And Lando, you know, to give Lando credit in this race, he was throwing out some fucking wild overtakes. Like some of his overtakes could have easily put him in the wall.
Yeah,
like they were ballsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He gave it a good crack. There was that one where he overtook two cars in the same corner.
Yeah, it was against, was it Lawson and Stroll? I think it was something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Unbelievable. Like it was fucked. Like it was he has the most to lose out of this race. And to see him throw some of them moves, I was like, oh my God, like this guy's a psychopath. But then...
Yeah, what was he thinking? What about at the end of the race where he started asking his engineers like about Oscar being slow, like he wanted to have a crack at him when he's 3 seconds up the road? It's like, mate, just chill and win the championship.
So this is the thing though with drivers, like we, you know, very famously Monaco in I think it was in 91 or in 89 or something, Senna was dominating, leading by like 30 or 40 seconds against his teammate Prost. And then the team told him over the radio or with the sign or whatever, slow down. You don't need to go this fast, like slow down. And then he puts it in the wall very famously. Drivers, when they're told to slow down, that's when you make a mistake because you get in this flow state. It's just like batting in cricket. Like I was seeing the Steve Smith stuff over the Brisbane test this week where he was just fucking pelting them. I've not seen all of it. I just saw like a few snippets and he looked like he was in a very good flow.
Sure.
And it's just like when you've got a fast bowler bowling at you or you're in that fast rhythm of going through the corners and stuff, if you then all of a sudden take a step back and slow that down or try and slow your pace or try and slow your rhythm. So when you could make a small mistake, you could lock up into a corner. You could, you know, like the smallest mistake around a track like that, you could be in the barrier, as Lewis found out in free practice 3. So yeah, like unreal moves from him. But the reason he had to make them moves was because if a safety car, when he was behind all them drivers that hadn't pitted yet, if a safety car dropped then, Max and Oscar would have stayed pretty much within the top 3. And he would have lost the championship there and then. So it was like super crucial to get past them drivers if a safety car was going to come. And I think for Lando and for Oscar and Max, they were kind of, I think that's why they stayed out longer, is because they were hoping for that a safety car to come.
Okay.
Speaking of Oscar, let's get onto that. Really bad luck the last half of this season. He's made a lot of mistakes himself. Baku, for example, is one of those mistakes. I think we might do a season recap episode where we kind of look at the 3 title contenders a bit more and look at where they made mistakes or where they made, or where they had good races that helped the championship in Norris's case or in Max's comeback. Anyway, you know, he made a lot of mistakes in the last half of this season. It was really shitty to see, especially like say as being in Australia, how fucking amazing would it have been to have had an Aussie win. But ultimately, he did everything he could yesterday. He put everything on the line. He fought. He tried to get Max. He tried a different strategy. You know, he really fucking went out there and pushed as hard as possible. But he knew that he needed a miracle. He needed a safety car minimum to help him out with the race win.
Sure.
And he just didn't get it, which is unfortunate.
Okay.
It was really nice to see. I'll just quickly say this. After he gets out the car, his sisters and his mum going over to him on the grid and giving him a nice hug. That was lovely to see because we saw Hamilton in 21 lose the championship and he just kind of like, he was very emotional, very upset, you know, losing that to Max, losing out on the possibility of the 8th really hit him. Whereas Oscar looks like he knows that this is only going to be a good thing for him. Like it looks like by the time he got out the car, he was already just thinking of Melbourne next year. Like he didn't look like he needed to wallow in anything.
Yeah. Yeah, even listening to him on the radio, he still sounded like so calm, like toward the end of the race when he would have realized that he probably wasn't going to win the championship. He's still just like, just putting in laps.
Yeah.
Calm. It's like,
yeah.
He really didn't seem that fussed about it.
No, he's an absolute weapon. He's a weapon. And yeah, to say it's his 3rd year in the sport, I think he needs to look back on that season and just go, fucking oath, I pushed it to the last race. Like, well done to him.
Okay. And then Lando wasn't actually the only one to go off track and exceed track limits throughout the race. There was heaps of talk of people going off all the time. And I think every time you exceed track limits, you get shown some flag that's like a warning. And if you do that 3 times.
So
what are the rules there?
Yeah.
Refresh me on what the rules are, and then why would it have been happening so much more last night? Is it something about the track that made it hard to stay on the track? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. We see it quite a lot across the season anyway. I think it's more prevalent. It was more prevalent last night, especially because of what happened there. They were then talking about it quite a lot. We mainly see it in qualifying sessions, right, where people get like warnings for going off or tracked lap times deleted or whatever. So the rule is you get 3 strikes and then you get a black and white flag. So 3 strikes of going off the track, gaining an advantage. The reason they do that system is because you could do it by accident. You could lock a tire. You could have oversteer. You could, you could, like last week in Qatar, I think it was Yuki got a penalty for it or he had a lap time deleted for it. You could go wide to open up the corner on the entry and actually go off the track. Yuki did it twice in Qatar last week. Like you could do them little things. So they give you three opportunities to not do it, or 3 opportunities to do it without getting any kind of penalty. And then it's a black and white flag. A black and white flag means you've been noted, you're under careful watch the next time you're going to get a penalty. So 1 more mistake after that, penalty. So the black and white flag is, you can be shown a black and white flag for a lot of things. Like if you've got a winglet hanging off your car and it's flapping around like this, you can be shown a black and white flag, or you can be shown a black flag. Black flag means you're disqualified, you're out of the race. Black and white flag is more of a warning that a black flag could be coming or a penalty could be coming. So that's kind of the rule in there. Lando's going off the track, even though he didn't get a penalty for doing it, the penalty would have been for going off track and gaining a position. He still would have been noted for that. So I think we saw him, did Oscar get a call like within the last few laps as well, or was it Max or someone? One of them 3 got a call to say, hey, you're on your 2nd track limit or 3rd track limit or whatever. Oscar, that would have been one of, Lando, sorry, that would have been one of Lando's going off the track then.
Gotcha.
So he still would have counted as a strike. It's not like he just did it and got off scot-free.
Okay.
Okay, Skin, let's talk strategy, because we saw a couple of different strategies during this race in terms of the pit stops, but they both seem to be, they both finished very close to each other at the end of the race. So it means that they were both the exact same speed from start to finish line. Obviously, Lando did a 2-stop strategy, which was a bit more, I don't know if it was a bit more conservative so that he wouldn't have a pop tire or anything. Oscar's definitely felt more aggressive. It meant that he had to like really hold on to his tires. So I don't know. You could look at it either way. But either way, they finished within like 5 seconds of each other at the end of the race. So it didn't make a difference which one you did. But I just wanted to point out a couple of things of like why we can have a 2-stop strategy and a 1-stop strategy in a race like this, and yet they both come out on top. Yet sometimes in a race we'll have a 2-stop strategy that's heads and shoulders faster or heads and shoulders slower than a 1-stop strategy.
All right.
A race like this, you're only losing 20, I think it was like on average 21.5 seconds down the pits, with including your pit stop. Mm-hmm. So it's quite a long time to lose. But in Qatar last week, I think it was like 24. So you're losing an extra 3.5 seconds, 2.5 seconds. Mm-hmm. Go Skin, quick maths. The reason at this track that you get the reason I'm also putting this in here, by the way, we had a lot of people DMing us about this and asking the questions about why this is the case. So I just want to throw it back to the audience so you can get your answers.
Wonderful.
The reason that you can have a 2-stopper be just as quick as a 1-stopper at this race is because this one has got something very unique compared to a lot of most races on the circuit. It's not just a night race. It's a day to night race. So we start with a crazy hot track with crazy hot air temps and high fuel. So for the likes of Max, for Oscar, even then look down the field and look at like Lewis, who started on softs, right? These all, Max and Lando both started on mediums. Lewis started on softs. All of these started, and the projection before the race on all of the broadcasts were saying the medium tires are going to go through till lap 22, 23 or whatever it was, and then everyone's going to stop onto hards and they'll just 1-stop through to the end. But that wasn't the case, because we saw people stopping on lap like 12, 14, 16. Like we were seeing people stop a lot quicker. And I think it was because the track temp, the air temp was crazy high still from the sun setting. And then going into the night is when the track temps all drop. The fuel starts to come down. So Oscar being on the medium tires actually meant he could go way longer on them tires because he went through the difficult phase as the track temps were coming down. And then when the track temps were lower, he could then just carry on going on them tires. Whereas the other medium runners had to stop. What that meant was that when they then got their mediums, they wouldn't go through a heat phase or they wouldn't go through a degrading phase like Oscar did on the hards as aggressively, so they could lean on their hards more. So in that middle phase for Lando and Max and Lewis as well, they could all push harder in that middle stint. Whereas in that middle stint for Oscar, he was having to save like crazy. So that's kind of where at the beginning of the race, Oscar's tires are going to give him an advantage, but in the middle, they're going to give him a disadvantage and the other guys are going to come back. So that's where the 21-second difference from a 1 to a 2 stopper is made up, is in that middle phase. And then pretty much at the end, everyone's the same. You know what I'm saying?
I think I do.
Got any questions around that?
No.
Go scan.
No, that was well explained. Thanks. That's
Nice.
interesting. Are there many other day-night races? That is weird. I've never even really given that any thought.
No, we have day races or night races.
Why would they do that?
Because it fucking looks cool as shit.
Oh.
Yeah. And I also think it just works really well. As a final race of the season, they want it to work well with European time zones. So that works really well with the European time zone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So like Abu Dhabi has been the last race for a while now.
A long time now,
Has
yeah.
it often been day night?
It's always been the same. It's always, since it's come on the calendar, it's always been the exact same setup.
Wow.
And I froth it. I think it's so unique, and I like that it's not just another night race. It's not just another day race.
Why don't they do that more often then?
Time zones and when they can sell it. When they can sell it to people.
Time zones? Do they not realise everyone in Australia is watching at fucking 2 a.m.?
Yeah, literally. yeah. They need to think about Australia a little bit more.
Seriously, come on.
Seriously.
Pull your finger out. I mean, there's one Australian driver on the grid. How many more do you want?
Yeah, next season there's going to be 5 Brits. Maybe we should cater just to the Australians.
Please.
But I also think with the strategy, it was really interesting to watch Ferrari this week because Charles kind of, he was kind of in no man's land. He couldn't catch the guys in front, but he was a little bit faster in the race for some reason than the guys behind him. But Lewis coming from P16 through to P8 really impressed me. And fuck, this pains me to say. But yeah, Lewis had a great race and probably could have snagged P6 if it wasn't like if he had passed, was it Ocon, I think? If he had passed Ocon when he first made the move, they had a bit of I think Ocon made a great move back around him to keep the position. If he had held that, I think he would have had a go at Fernando. Fernando's a little bit slower. So yeah, it was really good to see Lewis's strategy coming through because he started on the softs. I think he went to hards, then he finished on the mediums. And when he went to mediums at the end, I was like, fuck, that's a long way to go because none of the medium runners did as long as he did. But then it's because of, and that's what made me look into this. And like this, I think this is when I started getting a lot of questions through on the Fools account was seeing Lewis do a lot more and be a lot faster on the mediums than everyone else in the first stint was because the track was cooler. He had less fuel and he had a bit more clean air and space and stuff as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, really interesting to see that.
It's staggering the difference between Ferrari's 1 lap pace and race pace.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Literally. It was so crazy this week. Like, even Charles, like when Charles was attacking Lando at the beginning, it was like, he stayed within a second and a half for a long time.
Yeah.
Like there was a part of me that thought he could get him on strategy here.
Yep. Yeah, so you sort of covered why the 1-stop and the 2-stop strategy ended up being pretty similar.
Yeah.
With Oscar's 1-stop strategy, why did he do it like that? Why did he pit so late?
Yeah.
Like he waited until Max had already gotten in front of him again.
Yep.
Then pitted.
Yeah.
Max didn't have to pit again.
Yeah.
So he was I don't understand. He was in a terrible spot. He had all this, like he was already behind him, then pitted, so had to make up all this extra time.
Yeah.
Had he not just pitted, say 5-10 laps earlier, when Max was well behind him, would he not have had a better crack at chasing him back down?
He would, but it's the same thing. The problem he faced is that he had to go onto the mediums or softs. He couldn't go back on the hards. And all of the data that McLaren would have had on the mediums was mainly based on Lando. And Lando pitted on like lap 18. And at that point, he would have had to do like 32, 33 laps.
Okay. So,
yeah, it would have made sense to do that, but then he would have really fucking struggled at the end and probably wouldn't have finished on the podium or would have finished third. So like, I think the way they did his strategy to leave him out late, kind of just like nailing the coffin, he's not going to win the race, meaning he wasn't going to win the championship. Don't think they were to know that at the beginning. I also don't think they were to know that Max was going to be so fucking quick and to catch him that quickly when he came out onto the hards. But yeah, I think it was just kind of in the moment it went wrong for it, or it just didn't go in the right direction for him. But I think when I first saw him on hards, I was like, that's the best strategy to be on. What, like going on the hards and either going hard, medium, soft, or going hard, medium to the end, like he did. I thought that was going to be the best strategy. And it turned out it was basically an equal strategy to what Lando did. So, it wasn't significantly worse or anything. It was not like, I don't want to throw conspiracies out there, McLaren didn't fuck him. It just didn't work out.
Okay. Then the other question about the McLaren strategy. So they've obviously had this split strategy with their drivers to just try something different, I assume, unless there's a better reason for them to have split the strategy. But so Oscar on lap one, Oscar overtakes Lando, right? Yeah. And it looks like it's the greatest overtake of all time. It was all very exciting. Everyone's frothing it. And then a few laps later, there's an interview with Zach Brown. He's like, no, I was not surprised that Oscar got past Lando on the first lap. Yeah. And sort of made it sound like that was part of their strategy. Like they'd planned on this overtake on the first lap. Why would they have done that?
Yeah, it was so funny reading your notes when I saw them drop in the document, because I wrote the exact same thing when I heard the Zach Brown interview during the race. Like, I kind of figured at the time, I was cheering like fuck. I was like, yeah, come on, Oscar's got it. And I thought Lando doesn't want to battle this because he's thinking about the championship. If he crashes with Oscar, he's going to lose to Max. Like, there's no way you can win it if them two both crash out. So I thought Lando was being more conservative. But when I heard Zach's comments, I was like, this now feels premeditated. Like, this feels like it was a plan of, okay, Lando needs a minimum of P3, but Oscar needs to win. And they kept saying before the race, like on the grid or in the interviews or whatever, Zach kept saying, we're gonna think of the team and we're gonna put them both in the best position so both of them can win the championship. So I think they had orchestrated for Oscar to pass Lando so that if Oscar had the pace to beat Max, he was in the best position. He wasn't sat in third, he was sat in second to go and beat Max. Obviously that never ended up happening, but they put him in that position, and they put Lando in his minimum position of P3, and they basically just told him, manage P3. That's what I think has happened behind closed doors, which again is boring as fuck from McLaren. Like, it's so boring.
It's also weird though.
Yeah.
Like, if Leclerc got past Lando and he lost the championship,
big risk. Yeah. Big risk. That is. But this is the thing. I don't think they were banking on Leclerc being as quick in that first stint. Yeah, I genuinely, and obviously now with hindsight we can look at it and go, okay, Leclerc finished fucking ages behind them, so over a full race stint they had it covered, and they, if that was their decision, they made the right call. But there was certainly a bit of time there where it didn't feel like it was comfortable for Lando.
Yeah, squeaky bums for a while.
Oh, go skiing.
All right. Anyway, and then in the end, so Lando won the world championship by 2 points.
Yep.
Last week there was talk about Kimi Antonelli's mistake that let Lando get past him and gain an extra 2 points.
Yes.
So had that not happened, had Kimi not made that little mistake, Lando would be on 2 points less.
Yep.
And he and Max would just be tied.
Yep.
What happens then?
In that situation, so that would have been Lando finishing P5 in Qatar, Max winning the race, and then Max wins the race this week, Lando finishes P3. They would be equal on points. We would then look at race wins. Now, the interesting thing going into this last race was all three of them were all on 7 race wins. Max won the race. So Max would have taken the championship by 1 race win.
Wow.
So it would have been a very interesting end to the season, because I don't know, and someone is going to comment on this. I don't think we've ever had a championship decided on countback, like really? on race win countback. Yeah, I don't think we have.
Wow.
We may have done, I don't know, but certainly not in my lifetime we haven't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. What a sport.
What a sport.
Oh,
I know.
Mate, I'm excited to see that. Have you heard some of the... I don't know if this is real at all, but apparently there's like all these outrageous rules in ice hockey. If a game ends in a tie.
Yeah.
It like, if you then you go to Golden Point or something, and then if you get to the end of Golden Point and scores are still tied, then they drop a second puck or something like this.
What? And they just play with 2 pucks on the...
I don't know how true that is, but
That's
that
crazy.
is one of it. I think
That would be wild.
Yeah.
Imagine they were just like, right, go do 10 more laps, double points.
Yeah.
That would be wild. Yeah, right. No, we're I think we're similar to, I don't know how the cricket does it with the BBL, but like I know in soccer, in the EPL, it would be count back on how many wins. Or no, they have goal difference, don't they? So it would be how much of a goal difference you've got for conceded versus scored.
Yeah.
And then I think if that is equal, that's when you go count back on wins.
Yeah. Okay.
In the EPL.
Yeah. No, I think there's similar stupid stuff in cricket. Like I think I'm pretty sure there was a World Cup, like England versus New Zealand in the World Cup, where England won on count back on boundaries in the game or something.
Holy Moses.
It was like, yeah, I think there must have been a super over that went to a tie as well, and they ended up winning. And it was,
Wow.
There's weird stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Very impressive. But also, I don't want people to like hear us saying like, oh, if Kimi hadn't made that mistake, he made a mistake, he didn't let him through, then Max would be world champion. Like, shit happens in sport. Like that's literally the sport. Like if Max didn't fucking crash into George in Barcelona and get that penalty.
Well, yeah. There's a million other
There's
places.
literally there's a million other times this season where Max lost 2 points to Lando.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, there's a lot of different scenarios you can look at. I think the Kimi one is just the most recent one.
Yeah, and it just happened to be exactly 2 points.
Exactly
that
2
got me
points.
wondering
And it
about
was
that.
very controversial.
Yeah, sure.
Them 2 points.
But no, it is funny how anytime there's like a really close result in sport, you start thinking about like and it's always the most recent thing or something you've done, and it's like
it's either the most recent thing or
like,
the bigger thing.
Yeah, and when in actual fact there's like 15,000 different things throughout the season that decide what.
Literally. I want to just quickly touch upon Ferrari. I think I saw a post earlier, and I think Ferrari could be geniuses.
Couldn't tell you.
Geniuses, I'll go with.
Sure.
Even after old mate's comments saying that the drivers are shit and we need to work as a team to secure P2, they secured P4, so that was great from them. They were in P2 when them comments were made a few weeks back. They dropped 2 places in the Constructors' Championship.
What?
In like 3 or 4 races. Yeah.
Wait.
It was pretty tight up that top end.
What ended up happening in the Constructors' Championship? Who's where?
McLaren P1,
Thanks.
Mercedes P2, Red Bull P3, Ferrari P4, Williams P5.
Holy heck.
Yeah.
That's staggering.
Yeah. But I think
dropped to Red Bull, who only had one driver.
yeah, literally. But I think it's quite good for if I don't think they did do it on purpose, but I think it's quite good for Ferrari to be finishing in P4. We're going into a new season of aerodynamic rules, and we have the budget cap, and we have a cap on how much wind tunnel time you're allowed to use to test your new parts and to test your new car. It's determined on where you finish in the championship. So the first place in the Constructors' Championship gets less wind tunnel time than everyone below, and it cascades downwards. So like they will have more wind tunnel time than Red Bull, Mercedes, McLaren ahead of them.
Okay, sure.
And I think it could, like in a new era of F1 with aerodynamics, development of the car is so significant. So having more time throughout next season to develop the car could pay dividends in the second part of next season for them.
Okay.
Who knows?
I like.
But it's also Ferrari engineers. So
yes. Yeah. Okay. All right. I see what you're saying.
I'm trying to give Ferrari fans some hope,
Yeah.
so that when their engineers fuck it up again next season, the drivers, according to old mate, like when they fuck it up again next season, their hopes are destroyed again, and I can laugh from my Williams throne when we're winning the championship.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
So, yeah, as I've just mentioned, we've got a new era of regulations next season. We're saying goodbye to quite a lot of things after Abu Dhabi, so I just wanted to rattle them off. We're saying goodbye to the ground effect era of aerodynamics. I don't think anyone is going to be sad to see this era go, although everyone was sad to see this era come in. It has not played out in the way that we wanted it, and genuinely has been a very shit few years with Max just fucking dominating. And McLaren being quite dominant this season. Anyway, so we're saying goodbye to ground effect. We're saying goodbye to the V6 turbo hybrid engines as we know it. I know we're still going to be V6 turbo hybrid engines, but we're going to have very different regulations around them, a bigger hybrid component to the engine, bigger electrical power source. We did a whole episode on next year's regs. If you want to go listen to that, watch that, you can do so. It's very interesting. We're saying goodbye to Sauber, or if you're new to the sport, Kick. Sauber, or what are they also known as, Kick Sauber. There's another name for them in different countries. Kick or steak.
Steak.
In different, depending on what country you're in. We're saying goodbye to them. I don't really care about Kick or steak. I care about Sauber. Sauber have been in the sport since the 90s. Peter Sauber, who is obviously the founder of Sauber Racing, he was actually at the race. I chucked a video on my story this morning of him. They invited him to the race. He was, kind of there under the fireworks, taking it all in, like seeing the team. Audi have obviously bought Sauber out officially, so Audi will be the majority. They're going to fully take over that team, so that team will be Audi next season. So we're saying goodbye to Sauber, even though they've performed under different names. Alfa Romeo, it was Alfa Romeo Sauber. BMW, it was BMW Sauber. Like, we've seen them as a lot of different outfits, but it's always been owned by Peter Sauber, and that whole, it's always been under that name kind of thing. It would be as if, like we are Atlassian Williams Racing, it would be as if Williams dropped the Williams. Mm-hmm. That's how significant I see. I mean, Williams have been there a lot longer, but, it's as significant as that.
Okay.
We're also saying goodbye to Yuki Tsunoda for the time being. Yuki obviously doesn't have a contract next season now. Personally, I don't think this will be goodbye for Yuki forever. He's got the very strong connections to Japan. Obviously, he's Japanese, but Honda mainly. Honda are moving over to Aston Martin next season. Lance Stroll isn't the best, and Fernando Alonso is towards the end of his career. So 2027, we could see him in all green at Aston Martin.
Okay.
Don't rule it out. We're saying goodbye to DRS as we know it. Okay, we're going to have X and Z modes for next season, which in my opinion is basically fucking DRS, but everyone's making a big deal that DRS is gone. So RIP DRS. We're saying goodbye to 20 car grids and 10 team grids. So we're going to have 22 drivers on the grid next season. We're going to have 11 teams next season with Cadillac joining the grid. So it's going to feel busier next year. Like we have tracks like Monaco, where all the drivers complain about traffic. Throw 2 more fucking cars in the mix. It's going to be
the cars are
busier.
getting smaller.
Slightly.
Probably not.
So the cars are getting slightly smaller, but we're adding 2 more cars into the mix. So we're probably net losing space still.
Wonderful.
We're also saying goodbye to Lewis's dreams of getting his 8th title, I reckon, because holy shit, has it been a bad year for Lewis.
It has been.
Had to throw some Lewis slander in there after I gave him a compliment earlier.
Sure. Okay. It has been a bad year, but what makes you so certain that next year won't be better for Ferrari?
I could be 100% wrong, and it could be. I just needed to throw Lewis slander in there. Okay. I said a nice thing about him, Skin, okay?
All right. Yeah. I understand.
Yeah, it's yin and yang, okay? Okay, Guru and Fool of the Week, Skin.
Yep.
You want to go first on this one?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I copied your answers.
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
have
confused
a better
by
answer.
that.
Yeah.
I thought you would go with Lando, getting the championship.
Well, he's the guru of the season.
Okay,
you can't call him the guru of the weekend. He came third and did
Skin, don't give you
nothing
guru
that
of the
exciting.
We've not done our season recap yet. Don't give your guru of the season away.
Oh, sorry, yeah, that was a big secret.
Yeah, I went with Max. Like, I think he had a phenomenal weekend. Like I said, everything I said about him earlier, he deserves it.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I can't I don't really have a better answer. I kind of disagree with it going to Max. Maybe just because I don't understand how difficult his car is. Like when you say his car looked tough to drive in qualifying and he put it on pole, I was like, the car looked pretty fast. but maybe that's just because Max is driving it. I don't know. To me, it looks like he just had a fast car, put it on pole, and then won from pole, which everyone does in Abu Dhabi apparently. So it didn't look like that brilliant of a weekend, but I don't really have a better answer. Lewis made up the most places in the race. Yeah,
Lewis had a good race.
You can't really give him the guru of the weekend for having a shit qualifying, can you? So
no, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of said this earlier a little bit. Like you can look at Max and think he had a great weekend, but I think to if you were to watch his onboard, see how much he was wrestling with it, and even see just how much he was sliding out the corners, especially during qualifying, he built his weekend up and really worked to get that win. Okay. I think it was special for him. Fool. Who was the fool?
I don't know. Again, like everyone just kind
of... No one had really a bad race.
Yeah. It was a weird race in that it was like so tense the whole time because you weren't sure until towards the end, obviously, what was going to be the final result. But like looking back, nothing really happened.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't like millions of overtakes. No. I don't think anyone crashed. No one DNF'd. It was just like...
Yeah, literally no one DNF'd. 1 second. Alex. Oh, true. Alex had a bit of a shocker.
What did he do?
Got caught speeding in the pit lane.
Yeah, well, you can't do that. And
just lost a lot of positions. That's true, actually. Yeah, he did the same strategy as Lewis. Lewis went from 16th to 8th, and Alex went from like 14th to last or some shit. So, okay, let's give it to Alex. Good.
Yeah,
Thank you, baby.
Classic Williams.
Classic Williams.
Dog shit.
Dog shit.
They'll never win again.
I've always said it.
Yeah, they will never win again.
That's a lie. I've never said that. Williams are the fucking best. We're going to win. We're going to dominate next season. Next race is Melbourne. We don't really need to do anything on that because it's fucking next season. So
hopefully we release episodes between now and then.
Oh, mate, I've got plans. I've got big plans. I've got a list as long as
easy desk.
I was going to say as long as Lando Norris's points tally.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Well done.
Easy. And as long as Williams' points tally is going to be next season.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up another lap at the Formula Fools podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we did, and you can join the Formula Fools family by connecting with us on social media. On Facebook, we are at Formula Fools. On Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok, we are Formula_Fools.
Oh, yeah. You can also leave us a rating and review wherever you listen, Apple, Spotify, things of that nature. That would help a great deal. Thank you so much.
Go Skin. I mentioned earlier in the episode we're going to do season review. What I would love is to get your questions in voice notes on either Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. Send them in voice notes. Send written ones if you don't want to send a voice note. We're going to do either a season review or we're going to do like a Q&A or we're going to do something around this season. So anything you've been wanting to learn or know about this season, drop us a question. We'll get back to you on that one. And also, if you've just got anything you would like to know from the history of our sport, drop us a question. We may do a full episode just dedicated to your question.
All right. I like it.
Go Skin. Thank you for joining us at Formula Fools, where every turn is a chance for a good laugh. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.